In this video, we're going to be learning how to make these two magazine spreads in Scribus. These are image focused pages, and this is the first one, and this is the second. I'm going to go over each and show you how to put them together step by step. So let's get started.
Welcome to class.
The first thing you'll need to do once Scribus is running is to create your new document layout. So from the new document wizard, we will select facing pages. We'll set the size to custom, orientation to portrait, with a width of 8.5 inches or 215.9 millimeters and a height of 11 inches or 279.4 millimeters. Now let's set the margins. It may be a good idea to avoid using the preset values, as they may be different based on where you live. Now there is a general rule of thumb used when setting magazine layout margins. The inner margin is usually the smallest at 10 millimeters. The top and outer margin is about 1.5 times bigger than the inner margin, and the bottom margin is about 2 to 2.5 times larger than the top. And the reason the bottom margin is generally the largest is to accommodate content such as small images or even page numbers without interfering with content on the page. Working from top to bottom, we'll be using 10, 15, 15, and 20 millimeters respectively for our margins. For the purposes of this video, we'll be setting the number of pages to 4 and setting the first page is property to left page. And then we'll select OK. The first thing we're going to do is add a text frame to our page. We'll do this by pressing the shortcut key T on the keyboard and then holding the Shift key and clicking on the page to fill the margins with our text frame. Then in the Properties Control panel under the Columns and Text Distances section, we'll split our text frame into 3 columns. Now we'll shift gears a little to focus on the page's focal image. We'll start by creating a rectangle backdrop in the top right corner of the page to place the image on. Then we'll create an image frame and select an image. We'll be selecting an image by right-clicking on the image frame and selecting Content, and then Get Image, and then selecting the image from our computer. Then on the Content Control panel, we'll zoom in a little and move the image within the frame to get the layout that we're looking for. Now, as always, you have complete freedom over this, so don't think that what you see is something that you have to do. Feel free to be creative. Next, we'll want to add some balance to the page. We'll do this by simply creating a rectangle that will span both pages. Not only will the rectangle provide balance to this page, but it will also act as a means of tying both pages in the spread together. We will then duplicate this rectangle by pressing Ctrl or Command and the D button on the keyboard, and then rotate each duplicate by pressing the keyboard shortcut R and clicking and dragging the mouse across the canvas, placing each rectangle across the focal image background. Then we will cut the shape from the background image. We'll do this by selecting the background shape and one rectangle, and then selecting Item, Path Tools, Path Operations, and then selecting the Subtract option, and then OK. We will do this for each of the 3 rectangles. We'll use another duplicate of the rectangle in the footer to create separation within the first column of our text frame. We'll insert sample text into our text frame and ensure that the text above the separator is bold so that it stands out. In order to ensure the text content doesn't run over or under our shape frames, we'll set and modify the contour bounds of the shapes. Then, we will add a stylized block quote shape to the middle of our text frame content and highlight a block of text so that it stands out from the rest, adjusting the contour line shapes as needed. Finally, we'll go back and adjust the color of each of the added shapes to match a color found in the focal image. Then we'll apply an image effect, adding additional contrast to the image so that it stands out. And that's about it for the first page. Now let's move on to the next page. For the second page, we'll start by adding a full page focal image. And we'll zoom in and readjust the image so that the focal point is on 2/3 of the page. Then we'll apply an image effect, adding additional contrast to the image so that it stands out. Now it's time to add our caption text. To do this, we'll start by adding a semicircle shape frame. Depending on the background image, we may need to apply a colorful stroke to the shape so that we can see where it's being placed over the image. Then we'll convert the shape to a text frame by right-clicking and selecting Convert to and then Text Frame. Then we'll add some text content, setting the appropriate size and font. Then we'll remove the bright colored stroke as it's no longer needed. Finally, we'll add somewhat of a focal text. The text will cover the width of the page, and the selected font should align with the theme of the publication. So, in the case of this layout, we'll be selecting the font family Elegante. It seems to fit well with a fashion-styled spread. and that is where we'll leave the second page of the first spread. Now on to the first page of the next spread. For this spread, we'll somewhat invert the previous design by starting with a full page focal image on the left. Similar to the previous images, we'll add an image effect that will increase the image contrast. Then we will add our text frame caption to the top left of the image. The first line of the caption will be our header, followed by additional text content. And we will set the background color of the text content to a light color found in the image itself, so that the text doesn't blend with the background too much. Now for this page, we'll be using a focal text as well. Instead of recreating the wheel, we'll just duplicate the text from the previous page and then change the text content for this page. We'll rotate the text by pressing the keyboard shortcut R and clicking and dragging the mouse to get the angle we're looking for. And that's it for the first page. Now on to the final page. We'll start by adding a focal image that covers the top of the page and spans the page's width. In order to provide a little balance to the page, we'll be adding another image following the same theme that will overlap the existing image. This is a good practice if you're looking to cover something in the underlying image or just fill empty space. Then we'll apply an image effect, adding additional contrast to the image so that it stands out. We will then add a 3-column text frame below the images and insert placeholder text. To further tie the two separate spreads together, we'll duplicate the previous spread's footer rectangle and place it in the empty space between the focal image and text frame. We will place 2 of them on the page, separated by the page content title. The font used in the title will also be elegante, so as to match the previous pages. Finally, we will apply a drop cap to each paragraph in the page's content text frame. And that's about it, everyone. I encourage you to try this out for yourself, follow along with this video, and watch it as many times as you'd like or need. And for those that don't already know, you can use the settings menu to speed up the video or slow it down. Be sure to try some things out on your own, and feel free to let us know what you're working on in the comments section. In this video, we discussed how to create 2 separate magazine spreads in Scribus. If this video helped you, let us know in the comments section. See you in the next one.